President of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has cast doubt on the revival of Nigeria's state-owned refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna, describing them as economically unviable despite consuming over $18 billion. Dangote said efforts to revive the aging facilities amount to modernizing 40-year-old technology. He also said over 50% of output from a 650,000 barrels per day refinery is dedicated to petrol, far higher than the government refineries. Dangote's remarks echo earlier comments by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who said the NNPC could not manage the refineries. Industry groups are now urging the government to privatize the facilities or scrap them entirely and support modular refining instead. To discuss this, we're joined by an oil and gas analyst, George Brown. Mr. Brown, it's nice to have you join us on the news.
Yeah, good afternoon, Lekon. Good afternoon, viewers.
You're welcome.
Thank you
now,
for having me.
Yeah, NNPC refineries may never function again after $18 billion being spent. That has got to be the joke of the century, don't you think?
Of course, last year, before the commissioning of Dangote Refinery, I was on this platform, I was on this network a couple of times talking about all the things that we're actually witnessing today. And it's as if, it's as though one is a prophet. But everything that is happening today for every industry watcher is not a surprise. It's just exactly the way it will eventually turn out. Because honestly, the NNPC does not have the capacity any longer to run a refinery business, because a refinery is a business. They don't have that capacity anymore. And that is where we find ourselves. We said that the refinery was not producing as at the Q4 of last year, times in August, September, when they came out to say that Port Harcourt was functioning and it was producing PMS. And we went on ground and we came back to this network and we said that that refinery is not producing. And the NNPC kept circulating videos of whatever they wanted to feed Nigerians with, and Mele Kyari then was doing. But at the end of the day, where is it? They move up to Warri and they said they started producing. And we can see where it is at the moment. The refineries are obsolete. They are not just old, they are obsolete. And I remember before the 2023 elections, where I also mentioned, I made a statement that the refineries should be privatized. The refineries should be sold, because just like Dangote in a layman's term tried to explain or describe the refineries as an old car that you want to change the engines, and the shell of the vehicle does not have the strength, the chassis does not have the strength and integrity to carry the engine. That is what the refineries are. These refineries are over 40 years old, and these refineries, over the years, they claim that they are doing turnaround maintenance. And the actual reason for turnaround maintenance is not just shutting down a part or a segment, a portion of the plant to do maintenance. It also has to do with upgrades, because as time passes, with the fluctuation of time, refineries, or plants as they are called in the industry, you have modern technologies, emerging technologies, and you continue to, as an operator, you continue to get these new technologies and plug them into your existing facility, which I believe that the NNPC has not been transparent enough to do this all through the years that they've been claiming that they are doing turnaround maintenance. And that is why the refinery is finally broken down. If you look at the petrochemical refinery that is also in Port Harcourt in Eleme, that is not far from the refinery. That refinery, that petrochemical complex, was also owned by NNPC before it was sold out to Indorama. It has been producing at almost 100% installed capacity, that petrochemical plant. And it is doing fantastically well. Why? Because it is being operated by private concerns. The NNPC is not primed to do that.
Okay.
I think the best model the NNPC should go is to sell all these three refineries, Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna. Sell them off. They are scrap. Sell them off. Now, is it practicable in the 21st century of today, where you don't have pipelines that will move oil from Warri and the Escravos for Forcados pipeline to Kaduna to power a refinery or to provide feedstock for a refinery? It's no longer practicable. Coupled with the insecurity that we have, pipeline vandalization that we have, that refinery is not practicable. Even the CNG that Dangote wants to introduce, of course, you know. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, George, I was just going to see how we can track back a bit. You're saying these facilities should even be sold. As at the time the refineries were being repaired, some industry experts even said that they should be decommissioned and that a new refinery, or maybe new ones, should be built. Do you think that should have been a better option? Maybe Nigeria would have been better off if that had been the project in the first place.
Now, there is a difference between decommissioning and outright sale. Decommissioning simply means you strip down the existing obsolete assets, which comprises the process area, the storage area, and of course the control instrumentation units. You strip them down completely. That is what decommissioning is. It means you scrap it in layman's terms. You scrap it. Now, if you scrap it and build a brand new refinery, does the NNPC have the capacity to run a refinery? I'm afraid not. They don't have that capacity. So they should sell it. You can see what Dangote is doing. You can see what Walter Smith is doing. You can see what the refinery, the modular refinery in Edo State is doing. They are all functioning. And another new refinery is coming upstream not long from, I think in the next 2 years or 1 year, 6 months in Ondo State. You will see that refining business is not rocket science. It's not rocket science, honestly. So they should just not do a asset stripping. They should sell them off. Sell them off to private refiners that have capacity, that have demonstrated capacity already. They should do a pre-qualification. And those that have demonstrated capacity and expertise and experience in the refining business locally, not externals, locally, should be allowed to bid to acquire these refineries and come up with how they intend to bring them back to life. Then the NNPC, as a company that she is today, a profit-generating company, NNPC, as she is, should now have some stake in whatever it is, just as the NNPC has some stake in the Dangote refinery. So they should also have some stake and allow these private entities that are experienced and are good in doing business to come and do it, because the government has no business doing everyday business. NNPC is a classic illustration and example. NNPC cannot run our refineries anymore.
Well, I actually don't know how the NNPC will actually respond to this statement by Dangote, but then do you think there's a way whereby we can equally raise funds for the modular refineries?
Okay, raising of funds for the modular refineries is also not rocket science. There are funding institutions, both locally and offshore Nigeria, as in foreign countries, that can fund this plants, that can fund the construction, just as Dangote did. Dangote got his funding from different sources, from the African Afri-Exim Bank, from commercial banks in the country. The other people that are interested, the other companies that are interested, can also go the same way and fund their development or their construction of the facility. Don't forget that almost on a daily basis there are new oil fields that they do re-entry into, that have been abandoned. There are new rigs that are coming into the country, and as our last count, our rig presence in Nigeria has increased to 46 from less than 10 in the last 1 year. So you begin to wonder, where are those funding? What are the sources of those funds? There are funding. The funding is there. When the project is viable, there will definitely be funding, because the project viability is like a magnet that attracts funding.
Thank you so much, George Brown, for sharing your thoughts with us as regards to this matter.